the sky up above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled with love? I stare at the stars and the sky above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled with love? I stare at the stars and the sky above and think, what am I made of?
Hey everybody, welcome. We're live. Wait, I think I have something I need to do today. That's not for a while. It's only 11 a.m. We've got hours to go. I have an appointment later, but it's like 2 hours from now. What is up, everybody? Hey, happy holidays, Brielle. How are you doing? I just started the stream. Welcome. You came here right when I started. That's awesome. How'd you know I was live? I'm just in pajamas. What's the appointment for? Oh, it's a doctor's appointment. Yeah, I'm just like in my pajamas. I usually don't reveal too much booba all the time. So you're gonna have to suffer with the covered booba stream. Have you subscribed so I got notifications? Well, that's good. Not particularly sure what we're gonna be doing today. Probably gonna play League of Legends and Overwatch. So get excited for that. But mostly we're just kind of hanging out. I'm just kind of airing out a lot of stuff that might be in my on my chest, stuff that's going on, etc. I don't know, like with the world, like with my life, my medical stuff, all sorts of stuff we can always talk about here. I'm happy to have created this place so I can talk to you guys about this stuff. Have my morning coffee with you guys. Usually it's just a place where I just pop in and say, oh hey everybody, like I'm at the workplace and we're at the water cooler. I'm having my coffee, we're in the break room. Hello Brielle. You enjoy the coffee today? Just think, in about 2.5 months, I'm going to be all like bandaged up. I might not even stream for like a few weeks. I'm gonna be all bandaged up and on a liquid diet, recovering in bed. Like, it's gonna be a really interesting time. Hopefully it won't be too painful. But I'll get through it. I'll drink plenty of water, take my medications as prescribed. It'll all roll over. And I'll have like an altered face. It's like more where I want it to be. Pretty sure it'll end up looking good. I don't think it's gonna look bad. But it's gonna look more feminine and I'm gonna be satisfied with whatever result. Oh, I got a text. I Congrats, you won a $5 reward. Click on this really weird link that nobody would ever click on. Claim it. Enter your social security number. How about no? I don't think I want to do that. Where's my headphones? I got music to jam to that you guys are listening to, and I'm not. All right, you guys want to play League of Legends? I don't know. What else do I want to chat about? What's on your mind, Rebecca? What's on your mind, Brielle? Always encourage my chat to participate in conversation amongst themselves and with me. I won't always reply. Sometimes I might even like tell people to stop, or I'm going to start timing people out and banning. But that's a case-by-case basis, okay? How was your holiday? It was really quiet. It still is. I'm just kind of enjoying the rest of the new year, of the end of the year. Just kind of reflecting and kind of, I don't know, just like kind of trying to relax. And just, you know, a couple, you know, in the new year, I'm starting like a new, like, regimen of, like, activity in preparation for my surgery in March. Yeah, plans. Recovering from 2 surgeries that are gonna change my life for the better. Just by so much. And it's gonna be really fucking rough. And I'm gonna have to deal with, like, a brand new, like, post-surgery thing. Vagina. It's not, it's like a thing. What I'm talking about is, like, mentally, like, I'm dealing with a thing. I'm gonna be dealing with a big thing. And so in that case, it's a vagina, and it's my vagina, but it's gonna be brand new, and I'm gonna have to, like, deal with, like, muscle spasms and all that. You know, that's why I'm, like, trying to do a lot more, like, Kegels, but also I need to get, like, some physical therapy. And yeah, I mean, there's all this stuff going on in the next year. So I got the whole year mapped out for me, for sure. There's a lot of empty space in between it, but I'll use that time to just continue to reflect and to prepare myself mentally and physically. Continue to go out on walks. It's very important to continue to go on walks, get the blood pumping, get your body moving. It recovers itself. It activates the limbic system or whatever, the lymphatic system. Yeah, you get your lymph nodes in your body will start to, like, squeeze out. Like, it cleans everything out in your body when you exercise. Have you looked into other trans people's recovery? I have. I'm gonna add my experience into the YouTube collection. I plan to make a YouTube video documenting the whole experience, or a YouTube series possibly. But documenting the whole because this I remember when I was just starting to try to get gender affirming healthcare back in 2019. I was on YouTube constantly, like, listening to, like, trans women's experience of, like, getting on hormones, getting letters to approve for surgeries, getting on wait lists, waiting. It's a lot of waiting. It makes you feel very tormented because you're being twisted up inside because you know that, like, everything's coming, but also you're told to wait patiently and there's nothing you can do about it except something worse, which would be to quit. So that's not an option. I don't want my life to be worse. So it's like, it's just, I have to wait it out and power through it. And I believe I can do it, and I will. And that's the thing, is that's, you know, it keeps me going, is knowing that at some point I'm going to start to feel like, you know what? Like, I am who I am. I don't need anyone else's approval for who I am. I don't need anyone to tell me who I am not. I don't need people to argue with my appearance, with my identity, with my body parts. I don't need to explain it to anyone. But I do want to share that experience in a documentary format after I get my surgery and go through a good segment of the recovery, like maybe a month or two into it. I'm going to start making videos of basically what to expect from recovery, so that there's a lot of trans women out there who are very adamant about getting this surgery, but they have to wait a lot. And so I can provide that value because I went through it and I'm going through it still, but I'm going to collect all the footage that I've had on my YouTube streams. Clips like this will go into it. Because this is a part of it. This is a part of my history. This is a part of world history, actually. I am a meaningful part of the world, and I have value. And not only that, I have information that could save lives for trans women everywhere. And I feel like I owe the universe, even though obviously I have control over what I do in my life and all that, but I do feel like I owe the universe something for everything that I've gotten. I feel like I should share some of that with the world and try to make the world a better place. Yeah, I'm going to a special surgeon. I don't want to talk about details about surgery. But basically, it's a very specialized surgery. And I have a very skilled surgeon. I don't want to talk about details because I'm not really all about that. That's not really what my channel's about. My channel isn't about I do talk about my experience. However, I'm trying to document my personal experience, and it's I do try to think about more than just myself, of course. But it becomes very difficult sometimes. Because I'm focusing so much on so many different things. It's really hard. Some things are going to suffer, right? For example, my YouTube channel is definitely nowhere near where it needs to be. I am not producing videos in the rate I need to be. I am not even trying to make videos. That's the problem. I'm collecting footage on my stream, but I need to go back and edit it. And for sure, after my surgeries, I'm definitely going to be going through that. I'm attempting to go through that while I'm waiting. That's what I'm doing right now. Basically, I'm trying to work on editing videos and releasing videos, no matter how bad they are. Just make videos. Make an effort to edit a focused video that's short and digestible. Record footage as needed. It's I wouldn't say it's low priority in my life, but compared to my medical stuff, that's super low priority. Career is low priority. Health is one of my highest priorities. And transgender health is health. So I don't know, there seems to be a problem in any community. It doesn't matter if you're on Twitch or YouTube or Kick.com or anywhere like that, is you get people who just don't accept trans people. And they will never accept trans people. They don't like us. They don't like the way we look. They think we're ugly. They think we're abominations. And that's just not going to change. And what's kind of frustrating is it's a really uphill battle trying to find the people like you who actually care. And who actually treat me like a human being. But I think it's better because it's quality over quantity. And over time I will probably find that there's a lot more people who support me than who don't. I think it's really easy to look at my experience on the internet, and without the full scope of what it's like to actually have supporters en masse, compared to having a few people who are super negative and stupid. I think it's really easy to hyper focus on negativity, especially when it's in a high concentration. And because then it's you ask people oh, why, if you keep being harassed on the internet, or if you keep, if you're so unpopular on the internet, why do you keep coming back? I think it's because Forgot what I was saying. Because it's not about the platform. Because the platform can do a lot to like make an environment where people can like, we don't want people saying the N-word, or we don't want people saying transphobic things or whatever, and then policing it really heavily, and then everyone's just scared. And they miss the point. There's an opportunity to educate people on transgender healthcare and transgender laws that are designed to infringe on transgender healthcare and stuff like that. And I know it's boring to people, and people don't want to listen to that because it's really depressing. I'm going to tell you right now, like, what do you think it's like to actually live through it? Like, so it's like, I don't know. I don't like being like this, like, sad harbinger of doom or whatever. That's not my goal. But, like, that's just kind of how it ends up being. Like, I'm in poverty, I'm a trans woman, I'm autistic. Like, there's too many things stacked up against me, it seems. But I do the best I can. One day you'll get more views and a better following. I believe that. I don't know how soon that'll be, but I'm doing a lot of things to make that in my favor. Yeah, the good and the bad. There's certain things, though. Like, because some people, they seem to think that they don't see the cause and effect. And this conversation that people want to have for some reason about, oh, but what time is a good time to introduce people to transgender people? And it's like, you have to ask yourself, like, that's the wrong way of looking at it. Like, at what point is it okay to admit that heterosexual people exist, or that cisgender people? Like, kids know what's going on pretty early on about gender. In fact, some people at 4 years old have very strong opinions about their gender. And I know it's hard for people to understand, because I didn't have that hard of an opinion about my gender probably until I was like 16, 17, 18. Yeah, that's when, like 16, 17, 18. That's when I started to notice it. I didn't pinpoint exactly what it was, but I knew but now looking back, I know that's what it was. When I started having dreams where I was a female person. In the dream. And then, like, things slowly started to make sense after that. For the next couple of years. And then I closeted back up, and then when I was 31, I started transitioning, because life is too short, you guys. Like, I know you guys think that life is this giant road or whatever. Life is really fucking short. Okay, I'm 34 and I'm still so fucking young. I could literally live another 60 years, probably, if I live right. I mean, at least another 30 years, okay? Like, imagine that. I could live my whole life again and still have, like, probably 30 more years. But it's still so short. But you can't think of it like, oh, it's never gonna run out. If you let it slip by you, like if you let your health go, if you eat too much ice cream or Twinkies or potato chips or whatever, if you play too many video games, like if you just let everything go, like, your life will follow suit. Like, you know, you're scared of the surgery, you're also getting the surgery. I'm sorry if I forgot, Brielle. I do have a number of people who come to my channel, so I apologize if I forget. I'm so sorry, Brielle. I'm scared of the surgery too. It is a very real thing, and I need to do some finish. Hey, Evangard, how you doing from D-Live? There's a number of actual logistical things that need to happen in a year. I believe I can definitely make it happen. It's going to cost me some money. But I want to make sure, because even though I've had the minimum laser treatments and I can also get approved for more, I do want to go for electrolysis to prepare for my bottom surgery. I'm more or less complete as far as hair removal, but I want to be extra, extra sure. Because there's, I don't know, I don't want to get into medical details, but you're not scheduled yet. If you're thinking about it, start that conversation as soon as possible. Talk to those therapists, because you're gonna have to talk to a therapist anyway to get approval letters. So talk to a therapist, it'll help. Trust me. Don't delay whatever you do. I know that it's really hard. And I know that a lot of people use the internet as a place to come out in a safe way. But I'm just going to tell you right now, nothing on the internet, if you know that you need medical transition, nothing on the internet will ever be enough for you. You're going to end up being one of those Twitter trolls that, like, you know, has hyper crazy political beliefs that only exist on the internet. Like, you don't want to be that. Trust me. You want to live in the actual real world. But I know there's like real world things I got to do to prepare for my surgery. And also just, it is scary, even though like I'm not losing a penis, I'm gaining a vagina. But I need to say this though. There is an actual, and it would be irresponsible of me not to admit this, but there is a mourning process involved in this surgery. And many women will end up crying for no reason. It's not for no reason. It's because your body is significantly changing, and you must respect that. This is a transformative surgery. I need to actually give it the element of like the respect that it deserves. Yeah, the aftercare does sound scary, but a lot of women go through it and it ends up being fine. And people live happy lives. I wouldn't say happily ever after because that's a fairy tale. Life isn't a fairy tale. But people live very long, happy lives. And they never have to look back. Hopefully there's no complications for like revisions or whatever. But you know, I'm trying to figure this life part out. It's actually like a really difficult thing to do. But it is scary. And it's important to recognize the depth of what this surgery entails. I'm literally changing my penis irreversibly into a vagina. And I've had to tackle this for like the past like 15, 17 years. And it's time. It's time to go through with it. Ready or not. I'm never going to be ready. Like, you just have to go in. And it's going to, you know, I'm going to have to deal with the aftercare. And it's going to be rough. But I have to hold on. And remember that this is the difficult part. It will pass. This too shall pass. And there'll be a day where it's just normal, everyday maintenance. Like, I got to douche every day. And I got to, at some point, dilate, at least formally, with my dilator at least once a week. Apparently after like a year or something like that. And you know, especially you don't really have too much to worry about if you ever even use your vaginal canal sexually, like for with a penis or with a dildo or whatever. But I will make sure to formally dilate to make sure that I don't lose depth. Because it does close in on itself, because unfortunately a neovagina is treated like a wound. But it's not what you think. It's not like an axe wound. I don't know why people are so obsessed with using the most absolute, like, demonic language when talking about trans people. Like, for real. Like, why do they have to call our body parts axe wounds? Like, really? Like, are you calling this beautiful transformative surgery that's obviously going to be really bloody and probably, like, swollen for a good time? But that's expected in a transformative surgery like this. That goes down. It was daily. You do daily dilating. Apparently, at some point, you do reduce you can reduce the frequency after like a year or two or something like that. I'm not going to take any chances. I'm going to obviously work closely with my doctor to make sure. But you know, that's never going to change. You never have to stop being diligent about your health. Like, I'm diabetic. I have to constantly be taking care of it. The holidays is especially kind of troublesome because I kind of like, I kind of indulge in like I had I don't indulge too much, but I had like, I ate a good chunk of pumpkin pie the other day for Christmas. And like Thanksgiving was another thing where I ate some pumpkin pie and some apple pie. I mean, it's good food. Okay, come on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All that stuff, that's technical stuff that you deal with when you get there, and only you and your doctor can know for sure. You have a good doctor? Yes. In fact, I'm talking to my doctor today. I have multiple doctors, actually, and a therapist and a psychiatrist. And a, you know, mental health facilitator, who does, like, case management and such, and mental health support. So I have like a whole team of people helping me. So that's why I'm actually doing pretty good. That music, so wholesome. I'm actually personally doing pretty good. Like, I got my surgeries on the calendar about 2.5 months, I'm going to be recovering from facial surgery. I'm not sure how, because the way I run, music was perfectly timed, yeah. The way I run my stream is I kind of don't really have a schedule. I kind of just do what feels right, because I kind of treat this as my personal diary or something like that. If that makes any sense? Do you understand? Like, orbital bone, hairline, nose, jaw, and trachea shave. No lips and no cheeks. So these aren't being touched. But then the nose and the orbital bone and the hairline, forehead part. It's going to be a bit drastic, I think. Not drastic, but it's going to be a lot. I'm probably going to lose a lot of blood. I don't know. It's going to be a bitch and a half to recover from. I'm going to prepare for in a couple months. But I'll recover from it. It'll be over. And I'll be really thankful, because I'd rather do this now at 34. I'm going to be 35 at the time. I'm 35 turning January 15th. I'm going to be 35. Yeah, I'm going to be, from what I've seen from a lot of women, it's actually like surprisingly fast. But it is like a good chunk. And I'm going to have to be on like a liquid diet for the first 2 weeks. My whole forehead is going to feel numb for 3 months. That might not be as bad as I think it is, though. It might be really bad, but whatever. I'll deal with it. And everything's temporary, right? Another way, I'm putting myself through this torture for a good reason. Same with the bottom surgery. You go through the torture, and then you find that, like, I spent all this time to prepare for it, but it's really like it's over and done with before you know it. Like they literally, like, they put the mask on you and they put you under for surgery. You wake up and you're done, and then you do maintenance, and then like pretty much like you're done. Like, it's just some there's obviously like a lot of uphill climbing, but I'm putting myself through this torture for a reason, and it is torture. I don't want to make any I don't want to mince words. Being transgender and going through all the stuff that I've been going through, it is torture. But it's torture, like, you know, sometimes you need to do something that hurts in order to fix a limb, or like, you know, like you have to pop their arm popped out of their socket or something, and you're out in the wilderness and you need to like pop it back in or something, or it's gonna get worse, or whatever. Sometimes you need to go through some pain because there's a worse pain lingering in the darkness, and I know what it looks like. I faced it. I tried to accept it. I tried to live my life as a man, and it did not work. It did not work. And so I had to nail the coffin. Put the last nail on. That's so cool. I did that last nail on the coffin, okay? On that trying to live as a male. It's not going to work. It never worked. I was never happy as a quote-unquote male. Trying to fit in as a male, trying to live and be happy with my body and be happy with who I was in the world as being male. It did not align with me at all. And so I had to go through this. I fought so hard not to. Everybody does. Some people know a lot sooner than I did. But you still have to go through this battle of understanding, like, is this going to be worth it? And it is for the most people, but they have to find it themselves. Nobody can tell them and do it for them. So it's like this whole idea that, like, people are angry, that they think that, like, people are being brainwashed into transitioning, like it's some kind of grooming or whatever. How old are you when you started medically transitioning? I was 31. So it was in 2019. I wish I was able to start back in like 2008. I mean, that's come and gone. That's not coming back. I'm not gonna say that I lost all those years, but I would say that I lost all those years, really. I could have started my transition if only I had the resources. If I had the resources, and if like the world was the way it was today, with the discussion of trans rights already at least being the same way it is now, instead of the way it was back in 2008, then yeah, I mean, obviously. It was a lot harder back then, though. Like, you couldn't just get on hormones. Like, you had to go through, like, a really rigorous thing. I mean, I could have dealt with it. I was scared, though. I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to do it. But I'm finding out that I am. And I'm living through this, and I can't go back. I can't... There's no emergency brake on this. This is it. Like, I've had to learn how to accept this, and I still am. And even up to the surgery date, I'm gonna have to learn how to accept that this is reality. Like, there is no turning back. I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no option but moving forward with this. Kids don't necessarily medically transition. That's the whole thing I'm trying to tell people. Is people are factually wrong about this. Kids medically transition, what if they do medically transition, it's puberty blockers, which is not permanent. Like, I don't know why people still repeat the same thing over and over and over. The same talking points that are already debunked. Like, children do not medically transition until they're the appropriate age. I think in most of the cases, they wait until they're 18 to start hormones. But even then, like, I think at 16, you can actually start hormones in some states. Because it's like at that point, well, everyone else is going through puberty, and it's pretty damn sure for some patients, like they've been in the system for like 8 years or whatever, transitioning with their therapist. Like, I think if someone's 16, they should start puberty somehow. And if they're fucking sure, like if you're pretty damn sure that you don't want to go through a permanent change in a puberty, then you should probably wait with puberty blockers. But by the time you're 16, you've probably been on puberty blockers for a number of years already. They don't make you sterile. It just delays your puberty. I don't know why. Please don't spread misinformation. Go to a reputable source. And also don't go to me, because I'm not a quote-unquote reputable source. I'm just a random streamer. But puberty blockers are safe. They've been used since like the 70s. They don't make you sterile. They delay your puberty. And they're reversible. It just pauses your puberty. They're very safe. They're well studied, well documented. Like I said, since like the 70s. So I don't know where people get this information and why they refuse to like listen to new information. Like what? How are people so dense about this? I'm not saying you personally, I'm just saying it's kind of frustrating that like we have to repeat the same points even at like the top government level. Like President of the United States has to repeat over and over things that everybody already knows in the community, in the trans community, things that everybody knows in the medical community. What happened to Twitch? I got banned, Ari. I got trolled on kick.com and I clicked on a link. I was 14 hours into a stream. I was kind of delirious and overly caffeinated. And I clicked on a video that had a troll spliced into it. It was very dirty and gross. And it got me indefinitely suspended from Twitch. And I appealed, but they denied it. And I have to appeal again in like 60 days. It's really frustrating. I'm going to have to write like a freaking essay to like appeal for my ban for Twitch. And I need to get like, I need to get their attention on Twitter. Yeah, just what you heard. But you can also hear that like London Bridge is falling down. Or you could also hear that like, hey, if you smoke heroin, it's gonna like, grow your penis. Like you could hear that, but is it true? That's the question, right? Because I can also hear that like, hey, you have $1 million. Someone could come up to me and say, Rebecca Lauren, you have $1 million now. So like you see that like obviously someone can say that and you can hear it. Doesn't make it true. And that's why we have scientists and we have doctors and peer-reviewed journals. And that's how science works, and that's the way it's worked for so long for everything. But for some reason, when it comes to transgender healthcare, everybody's hyper-fixated on it. Like, why? You have to ask yourself, like, there's clear targeting. Like, clearly you don't want us to be happy. You don't want us to have healthcare. You don't want us to live. You want us to die because you want us to be unhappy for the rest of our lives, however long that might be. Unfortunately, many people don't survive that long. Unfortunately. Because you know why? Denying people healthcare that they need is going to affect someone's mental health pretty negatively. And regardless of what happens with the treatment, because I'm going to tell you right now, everything that I've done and that I'm continuing to do, 100% was the right decision. Okay? I feel so much happier. I feel much more content with myself. I feel bouncier. I feel giddy sometimes. I feel like closer with my sexuality even. Like, you have any idea how much better my life is off? And do you know what I would give? I don't know what I would give, but if I could somehow magically undo the puberty that I had to go through when I was a teenager, I would. And these kids have the option, and they know they need it. They're like demanding it. These aren't people like me who were still unsure what was going on until I was 18. These are kids who know exactly what they're going through, because now we have better vocabulary. We're not telling kids they're trans. We're saying, if you feel this way, then you might need to have a discussion about this because you might be trans. Okay, that's how things work. That's how they always work. I don't know why people think it's different suddenly. Why would it ever be different? Why would trans people have some kind of agenda of indoctrinating people like it's some kind of religion? It doesn't make any sense at all. And I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it, but I blame religion. I honestly do. I think it's caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I don't want to be like bigoted about it, but I think when you're gonna use religious beliefs as a shield to to hating trans people because you think it goes against your religion, which doesn't make any sense because the religion doesn't say anything about trans people. And if anything, angels have appeared as multiple genders or non-genders or have switched genders. Like, if anything, angels and stuff, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, come on. If anything, the religion teaches that trans people are an innate part of nature. But that's kind of stretching it. But what a mess behind you. Yeah, you're right. Read it backwards. Deer. Did I say it backwards correctly? Yeah, it is a mess. I got like clothes. I got like my journal. I got like a piano. It's an 88 key. Welcome to the stream, my friend. We're just chilling here a couple days after Christmas, just enjoying the rest of December. Talking about stuff that we have to deal with on a daily life. Kind of talking about stuff that makes us happy as well. Stuff that we're thankful for. Any random ideas you want to do. If you want to play League of Legends or not. I'm set up in my standing desk position, so I'm like trying to keep my blood flowing in my legs and stuff. Be more active physically. Like I said, I'm preparing for surgery, okay? I want blood flow and stuff to be perfect. And I'm... You ever notice that, like, anytime you're, like, actually ready to, like, clean something, everything just, like, stops mattering. Like before, like, when everything's, like, kind of set, you're like, oh, I don't want to mess that up because I don't want to, like, have to deal with it later. And, like, when you actually get started on the activity, you're like, okay, I don't care what this is anymore. I'm going to throw it across the room. Like, it's just going to break. I don't care. I don't care anymore. It's actually getting pretty warm in here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what we're doing today. Sorry, every now and then I just like check out my body a bit. I mean, because obviously, you know, appearances can be deceiving. I'm just wearing like a t-shirt. I'm just wearing pajamas today, okay? Relax. I mean, I could technically switch shirts. But why? I think what a lot of people don't understand is like, people think of like, they attach things to their womanhood or to their masculinity. Like, someone might say like, oh, I need to wear like a push-up bra and I need to wear makeup because otherwise people might not find me attractive or whatever. And that's pretty subjective, and obviously if that's the thing that you like to do, that's one thing. But here's the thing. I don't need to wear makeup to be a woman. And I know that it's kind of weird to listen to, but I think people have a lot of preconceived notions about what it means to be a man or a woman to begin with. And I think especially with trans people, people have this preconceived notion. They have this idea of what a trans person is. Because they think of a trans person as like, oh, it's like a drag queen or whatever. Cross-dressing. Or they think it's some kind of sexual thing. Or whatever, and it's like, well, you're wrong. Like, it's gender. Like, it's the same way you think about your gender. You just happen to be cisgender. And so cisgender people, I have no idea how they feel or whatever, but I'm gonna guess it's very similar to ours, but in the opposite direction, where they don't have to go to they don't have to go through a medical transition with their body. They're happy with what it is. It's the vast majority of people, if you ask them, they will tell you. You will tell me. Like, if I ask you what pronouns you use, you're most likely going to tell me exactly which ones you prefer. I'm going to tell you right now, I know that a lot of people think the whole pronouns thing is ridiculous, but if you really think about it on a super basic level, you don't really think about it most of the time. It's just people are hyper fixating on it when it's trans people. Because they have some kind of preconceived notions built into them through social media or through like traditional media, even like movies, where every single time somebody even cross-dressed or appeared like a trans person is involved and someone found out that they're trans, they didn't know, like they got surprised, they didn't realize person had a penis or something like that. Every single time in most movies, like up through like 2000 and probably even longer, you discover that the person is a trans woman, and suddenly the person starts throwing up, like appearing outwardly like disgusted by the idea that a woman could have a penis. That to me is like a huge problem. That people even considering that some women have penises, they can't even accept it in their mind. They have to see us as disgusting. Oh, I would never date a trans woman. That's disgusting, bro. Yeah, bro, I can lift, bro. Look how manly I am. I don't want to have sex with someone with a penis. What, you think I'm gay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you know the kind of guy that I'm talking about? Like, there's guys out there that do that. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of women who are kind of, what's the word? Insecure about their gender. And the same goes with men. And the same goes with whether you're trans or not. Like, there's people who are, I don't know, like a bit insecure. They'll do things that are pretty toxic to make up for it. And I don't know any specific examples. I'm just kind of, from my understanding, listen, when most people meet me, the first question is not what gender you are. That never happens. Almost never. Like maybe online if you do a voice chat. Someone says, oh, are you a boy or a girl? Or they do like, what are your pronouns or whatever. That's one thing. If I'm like just out there in the world, like living my life, you know what people see? They just see some random chick. Because that's who I am. Okay? That's the reality. And it's not until people figure out otherwise. They find out I'm trans because either I'm talking about it or they clock me some other way. They see my, I don't know, they like these transvestigators. You don't have to investigate too far. I have some pretty solid evidence of my body parts. But at the same time, like, what was I talking about? Being very passing. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Like, most people... Look, as much as I feel gender dysphoria, and I don't want to dismiss anyone else's either, I also don't want to say that, like, other people are ugly or whatever. But let's just say I kind of started from an androgynous place to begin with, and I don't know, I'm considered very beautiful as a woman. So, I mean, that's what people tell me. I don't always believe them. And honestly, I think I will feel a lot better after surgeries. Do the best I can. I think one of the things is like my shoulders, for example. And a lot of cisgender women have broader shoulders too. But like it's got this like it's a little too thick in my opinion. But nothing I can do about that. But I think my face is gonna feel like I'm gonna be a lot happier with my face, I think. And even the facial surgeon was like, let's just say you're starting off with really good, like, he said, let's just say you're off to a good start. That's what the doctor said, the surgeon. So, I'm going in for surgery in a few months. And, yeah, I just hope that we have good results, like, you know, because if having a good starting point makes things easier, then I'm all for it. I didn't want to do too few facial surgeries because I know that's multiple surgeries that you do. I didn't want to do too much, obviously, but I didn't want to do like just one. Like I didn't want to just do orbital bone because I'm like, you know, while I'm here, just get it all, just do everything that you think is like best. And the doctor was very clear about it. I'm not going to get top surgery. I think my natural breasts are good enough for me, and I like them. And once I get augmentation, like you can't undo that, really. And I think it's just an unnecessary surgery for me. I kind of like. I'm really attracted to women with natural breasts, and mine are pretty small. But honestly, like, they're good size. They can fit in your hand. But, you know, I'm just getting facial surgery and bottom surgery, and that's it. I've already gotten orchiectomy, but I consider that at, like, part 1 of the bottom surgery. Now, the only thing I'm still unclear about, which I'll know better when I get to the surgery, I want to understand how he's going to make my labia. I think I don't know if we actually got to talk about it. I should have asked about it, honestly. Oh, God. Because he's doing labiaplasty, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean that's a thing that I need to deal with. I'm sure everything will be fine, regardless. I've seen results from his patients, and it was good. Even with swelling, you know, after the swelling goes down, everything will be fine. It's gonna look really like hideous, I think. Like, I think the first time I see my vagina, it's gonna be all bloody and hideous. But then it's gonna, like, recover, so and be all beautiful and soft and pretty. Like me. But I do know that, like, ever since orchiectomy, like, things have just been feeling, like, a lot more balanced. Like, I don't have these things weighing me down, like, literally. But also, like, it's just, everything just feels so much more open. And I don't know, it gives me, it's a good indicator to me that getting a vagina is the right decision. Like, I'm on my way. Like, that's what the orchiectomy was about. Like, just kind of like helping time pass, like, better. Knowing that I'm not producing testosterone, etc. And being in pain from testicles. They hurt. Doesn't hurt no more. The groin can hurt sometimes, but because sometimes I'm a little bit overzealous, okay? Yeah, I still don't know what I'm gonna do today. Besides my appointment. I have an appointment in an hour and a half. Probably gonna end the stream in about an hour. Or maybe before then, I don't know. Recovery from trans women, that scares me from it. Don't worry about all the bad stories, okay? There's gonna be bad stories. But things have changed. And especially if you're going through like a good clinic with good surgeons that have a good track record. You should be. Don't worry about it. Okay, things have changed. There's been advancements in technology and in understanding. Like, thousands and thousands of women have gotten these surgeries, and there's obviously going to be bad stories. But you have to understand going into this. Would your life be worth living if you didn't go through this? If you spent the rest of your life never getting the surgery at all? Would you be even able to remotely look at yourself in the mirror and say that you did everything you can to be happy? But if you're not willing to go through that risk, that's fine too. Not everybody is somebody who wants to get surgery. But if it's that important to you to get surgery, you'll know it. Like, that no one's going to stop you from getting it kind of deal. It's like you'll move heaven and earth. You will move mountains to get it. That's how it feels. If you have that, then you already know what it feels like. Because if you feel like no one's going to get in my way to getting this surgery, I'm going to get this no matter what, I'm going to do whatever it takes, then that shouldn't bother you. Because you can't imagine a life where you're not going to have this surgery. There's just no way. And so obviously if something goes wrong, then obviously you shouldn't be counting on that, because what if things go right? In fact, like, it's a non-zero chance that things can go wrong, but it's like less than 1%, which is not a small number. That's a very large amount of people who have been affected, unfortunately. But it's a risk you're gonna have to be willing to take, and if you're not willing to take it, you don't have, no one's forced, and everything's doing the opposite, actually. People are doing the opposite of trying to allow you to get it. You have to move heaven and earth just to get it. You have to get everything aligned. You have to be in the right geographic location on the planet. You have to have the right resources. If you don't, everything's going to take so long. Like years, decades. Some people have waited 30 years to get their surgery. Like, I can't live like that. I can't live knowing that I could do something and refusing to take it. Do you understand? Like, that's how it is for me. And I believe that's how it is for every single trans person who's getting these surgeries. But you have to get to this point. You work your way up. You don't start off out the gate, I'm getting a vagina, like when you're 4 years old. And they don't, like, that's not how it works. And if it does, well, there's still a path that's, you know, there's still like an ethical path that's been determined by the medical community. There's proven healthcare for someone who's that young. It's very different than someone my age. It's a very different process for someone who's 8 years old, or 10 years old, or 12 years old, or 14 years old, or 16 years old, or 18 years old. These are all different processes. If you're 18 or over, you don't have to go through all that stuff. You've already gone through puberty, unfortunately, most likely. But if you're young enough, you probably haven't finished it. In my case, I think I was pretty androgynous to begin with. And I probably had hormone imbalance. I don't know. Who knows? It doesn't matter at this point. I can only move forward. But it's a very different process than someone coming home from school one day and saying, Mom, Dad, I'm transgender. Like, that's very different than someone who's like 31 and says, hey, I know that I came out when I was like 18 and I wasn't strong enough to transition, but I absolutely need your help now. So please help me. Like, go to your doctors under the pretense of talking about diabetes. Because I actually, like, I made the appointment. I said, about my diabetes. And when I got there, I was like, okay, I know I said it was about diabetes, but I need to talk about my gender stuff now. We need to move forward. And we did. And after all those years of denying myself, I finally did it when I was 31. But it's a very different process. Like, everything's streamlined for me because of my age and because of my history with my doctors. Like, my doctors it was already documented that I was experiencing gender dysphoria. They just had to formalize it, which they did through a process, going to therapy, having more doctor appointments, going through a couple different processes. Like, then I got an estrogen after a few weeks after consent, because it takes some time before you can even start hormones. But for me, everything was streamlined, and it still has been. Like, I'm literally on the calendar for surgeries. Like, holy shit, like, 4-year process, still, it's no small amount of time. I'm going to tell you right now, when all this is said and done, it's going to be a 4-year process. 4 years of my life that I'm never going to get back. But it's okay, because I think I experienced a lot of personal growth during this time. This is gonna be something that I keep with me for the rest of my life, and I documented it, so it's all available on YouTube. Like, it's literally all documented. Every single day that I stream and talk about this stuff, it's all here. I mean, unless YouTube fails and explodes their servers or whatever, we get taken over by aliens and they steal all our technology, they delete everything. Like, I don't know, like, basically everything's here forever. I'm not going to assume that there's going to be some kind of... Obviously, everything is temporary. In fact, I think the human race as a species really needs to figure out how to store data. Like, how do we continue... Like, I know that there was some, like, cold storage DNA. Like, using actual DNA, like blood and stuff like that, to store, like, a hard drive. Because we need to be able to store the entire knowledge of humanity. Like the Library of Alexandria that burned down in Egypt like so long ago. That had contained all the collected like work of all the scientists and doctors and all that kind of stuff. Everything burned to the ground. And there was no record of it. There's like just things that disappeared. There's probably transgender healthcare. If I'm going to be real. What was this, like the year 10,000 BC or something like that? I don't know when. But like, there may have been transgender healthcare back in like the BCE days. Like 2,000 years, 8,000 years. You never know. There could have been transgender healthcare. Could have been a normal part of society. For all you know. like it's totally possible. Things like this do happen. We discover things about ancient societies and stuff. But we need to figure out how to store human information, in a meaningful way, because everything right now is on the computers and satellites and all that kind of stuff. What if there's a giant EMP event? Like there's like a giant solar flare or something like that. Or there's some other kind of radioactivity that like interferes with all the satellites. And somehow wipes out every single hard drive on the computer, on the internet, on everywhere, every server, everywhere. Every file is deleted, every address burned to a crisp, whatever. I don't know. All sorts of things that are irreversible, right? Like everything's crazy. Like if you get to that point. I'm not going to count on that to happen. Most likely that's not going to happen. Most likely... I think humanity is going to find a way to store information. We're already kind of working on it. Last time I was reading about it, it was actually like they were talking about DNA storage. So they're basically using like blood or whatever as a hard drive. That's insane to me. Like, what the hell? But yeah, you know, I'm ready to get past this part of my life. I'm ready to finish through this epic journey that I've been on. It really is a transformative journey. I mean, I am trans. I'm being transformative by my very existence. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's going to feel a lot different once it's through this part of the surgeries. I feel like years from now, I'm going to kind of look back and be like, huh, like look how far I've come. Like, way to go, Rebecca. You're super awesome and powerful and amazing. And I'm just gonna move on with my life just like I am right now, pretty much. Like, I need to recognize sometimes that, like, as much as I might think that, like, I'm not really moving forward with my life, I'm actually doing an insane amount of movement. Like, it doesn't feel like it, obviously. It won't really until it gets to a place where things kind of, like lock into place. And I think I'll know it when I see it. But I don't know what it looks like. I'll be on the lookout for it. There's going to be a time where I'm just like, I have opportunities. And I'm going to react to those opportunities. I'm going to take advantage of them. And I'm going to make those opportunities work out for me. I don't know what those opportunities look like, but I'm going to be on the lookout for them, you know? I don't know why I said that twice. Baal Bahagna. Shantae Risky's Revenge? Is it a game on the Nintendo DS or something? Yeah, it's DSware. What? I'm trying to strengthen like my back muscles because I have this like hyper flexibility or something like that. So like that's why I'm like trying to stand more and like walk more and like keep my muscles kind of like working a little bit at all times. Work my core. Yeah, see, like back here, you see like there's like the squareness in the jaw. It's just too much for me. It's too telling of like the fact that like I don't know, it gives away that I'm transgender, like close up, you know? And I just don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of people judging me, even though they're not trying to. But like, let's say you're having sex with someone, for example, right? And they love you for who you are, right? They're not like transphobic or anything. But then while they're having sex with you, you can kind of like see that like when they see your face, they kind of like look at you a little bit differently than like, I don't know, there's like this moment of realization where this person's like, I'm having sex with a trans woman, where they're distinct, like they're making a distinction between the fact that I'm not like a cisgender woman. So that gives me a lot of gender dysphoria, knowing that somebody might think that of me. And I know it's never going to change, but like, I just don't want my face being something that does that. I also don't want my penis being so I wanted a vagina, so. I was a little bit excited thinking that it was going to happen a lot sooner. But honestly, now that everything's said and done, obviously I have to accept that it's still going to happen as planned, but possibly maybe a month or two shaved off. Who knows? But there's actually still stuff that I need to do to prepare for it anyway. So it's like, as much as I would like it to be sooner, magically making it sooner won't make it better. Like, because I still need to get the hair finished, like finalized. I have a year to do that now. I want to go see an electrologist and all that. I don't know. That's all boring stuff. I actually feel boring sometimes. Like, I have nothing else to talk about but my medical stuff. Like, really? Is that who I am now? Am I that person that's always talking about the doctors? Am I that person now? I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that's like, hey, it's Rebecca. She's awesome. We love her. She's so smiley all the time, and she listens really well, and I don't know, she really kind of sees you for who you are, and she doesn't judge you so much. She's such a wholesome, like, kind of beautiful woman. It just really brings a lot of warmth into your life when she's in your life. That's usually what people say about me. I don't know. At least that's how I see myself. At least how I want to be. Yeah, it's something that, like, I don't expect anyone to fully understand or even understand at all. Unless you're going through it. So, like, obviously, I don't expect my audience to know what it's like. Unless you're actually also trans and going through it. But I don't expect my audience. I expect my audience to be mostly male, to be honest. And I kind of try to cater to a male audience more. Because I've been around men my whole life, okay? Me being a woman doesn't change my audience. Like, if you have a more male-dominated audience, I kind of need to make different kind of content for them. Content I enjoy making, by the way. But I have to know my audience. My audience is a bunch of dudes who are attracted to trans women. Okay, so... or at least, fascinated by us. Some people might see us as a fetish, and that's kind of frustrating. Like, knowing that there's people out there that only see us as some kind of sexual kink. It's kind of weird. But it's something I have to learn how to live with, and I think I don't think it's as bad as I think it is. In the end of the day, I have to make my life worth living, and I think it's, no matter what happens with the rest of society, I can just make my own reality. Like, meet the right people, have the right people in my life. I've had sex before. Like, it was like a year ago. But, like, I met a random person, talked on the phone, and then we met, then we had sex. And it happened, and he actually made me feel very feminine. He treated me really nicely, I think. Ended up not really working out. I mean, it was just a Tinder date, But I think it was a generally positive experience, and made me feel loved. Because a lot of the time I don't feel like I deserve to be loved. I think that's actually quite that simple sometimes. For some reason, I just feel like I don't deserve it. Like, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to be loved. But I do. And I remember just wrapping my legs around his waist and realizing how different our bodies are. Hey, shot caller. And just realizing how different our bodies were, it was really gender affirming. Hey, abducted. I remember, like, wrapping my legs around his waist. I don't want to get too heated here, but, like, I remember, like, just seeing my legs, and they're like, those are women's legs wrapping around a dude. And, like, he's, like, doing me. And I'm feeling very female at the time. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know. Obviously on my channel as a viewer, you have to expect me to talk about gender affirming stuff a lot of the time. It's something that personally, like, something most people don't think about, I don't think, but it's like the small things that really add up a lot. And I talk about them sometimes, and it's like, I know like most people might not think about stuff like that, but it's like that made me feel very, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe more people think it than I realize, not just trans people. Like I'm sure there's women out there who felt very feminized and confirmed in who they are during sex. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know. Something about womanhood or manhood that makes people feel like content with who they are and there's no argument. Like you just like, this is you. You're Batman. I think Batman is very secure in his gender. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, he's Batman. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I have about 40 minutes left. I'm like just trying to think about anything I want to talk about. Just kind of enjoy the moment. I don't have to always be making something. I don't have to always be talking about something on stream. I mean that's a good topic right there, right? Like why do I always feel like I have to like fulfill some kind of agreement? Like why can't I just enjoy the space? You know, like hey, like I got 40 minutes, it's fine. Like we can do whatever. I don't know, I think there's something that happens when you start to like plan things out. Like when you're like when you say like, oh, for 20 minutes I talk about this, and then for 20 minutes I talk about this, then we play a game for an hour, and then we play this, and like have your stream like planned out like that. I don't know, I want to do that sometime because it's like I have a really hard time adhering to bullet points sometimes. It's actually something I want to work on. I want to actually structure out a stream to like record some stuff and then actually follow through with the video editing for YouTube. Like seriously, like what is wrong with me? Do so much recording, do like no editing. I need to actually, and also I need to make content that is worthy of being edited. Like, so it's like I need to, I've been sitting down sometimes and I was using ChatGPT to actually develop some outlines for stuff to give me a start. And I was it looks very promising. And I'm obviously adjusting it for my own personal usage. Basically just using it as like a template for like a starting point and then kind of just doing my own thing. Which is what I think anybody should do. Relying on technology to solve all your problems is not going to really help you. I think using technology for the problems that it does really well, do the kind of problems that it does really well, and try to find alternate solutions for things that it doesn't do well. Like there's certain things that like ChatGPT or any AI is not going to be able to answer satisfactorily. Like there's just certain things that an AI just can't do, and you need to kind of like learn how to like use it as a tool to kind of give you something to like basically like a mold. It gives you like a mold to like start from. I think it's really good at that. It's really fucking good at that. And so like I've been using that for my writing. It's giving me a lot more ideas. I'm finding myself wanting to write a lot more. The holidays is kind of a difficult time. I kind of celebrate a lot and kind of relax a lot. It's kind of like a vacation. The next like couple days, basically until New Year. At New Year, everything kind of resets again, and I have a whole year that I'm preparing for with surgeries. So, you know, basically focus really heavily on staying healthy. You know, getting exercise. Which I actually think I'm gonna do now. I might end the stream. I think I'm gonna end the stream now. I've been live for an hour and 17 minutes. I actually want to go do some stuff with my life instead of streaming. No, I mean obviously I'm always gonna return here. My stream is mine. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with career. This is my space that I've created. Like this is like where I come to like have my microphone and give my thoughts on stuff, to talk with people who might care to listen, and to like have some fun together and create memories together. Obviously, this is not my life. This is a part of my life. It's a hobby. And the same, but it could, depending on how the rest of my career plays out, that I'm actually deliberately working on something different from streaming and stuff, broadcasting, more along the lines of adult entertainment. Getting that will probably like do something about my stream. I don't know if it will particularly change things, but I don't know. I do see myself eventually having my stream be a more integral part of my career. At the moment, it's more of like a personal diary kind of place. And I appreciate anybody who like kind of, I don't know, I guess suffers through this boring stage of my stream. Like, just wait until I actually start making like planned content, like podcasts, which I'm coming up really soon, actually. In fact, I want to start a podcast 2023. Like an actual podcast, like scripted, like at least bullet points, and actually release a podcast like on a podcast platform. Like I actually want to do that. So I want you to like come up with topics anytime that you're here if you want. If you want, like, feel free to talk to me about like most things. Like if you're here and you're a regular viewer, and obviously if you know how to like, you know, pick your battles. Sometimes I don't want to talk about certain topics. That's just how it is. I mean, I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. Not everyone wants to talk about transgender healthcare. But I do think it is an important discussion. However, I do think most people who have that discussion don't have the best intentions. And that's kind of where the stage is right now. Is the people who want to have conversations, quote unquote, they just don't want trans people to exist. End of story. Like they can probably convince themselves otherwise. They can probably convince themselves they're not transphobic. Oh, you know what? I'm not racist. I have a black friend. Like, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if there's any helping those people. But for the rest of them, most people are pretty decent and you should give them a chance. You should let people, you know, obviously don't let people walk all over you. What I found is it's best just to put your foot down about who you are. And let other people deal with the repercussions. Because me being a female is not determined by whether or not my parents are happy with it or not. Right? I'm not going to stop being Rebecca Lauren. I'm not going to stop being a human being just because someone else is uncomfortable with the thought of me changing my name and gender. Like, oh, I knew you by this other name. It's like, you have to put your foot down about it. Be like, no, she, her pronouns. My name's Rebecca. And the best way to think about it, I think, to help anybody, you know, who's dealing with that, like you have a family member who's using different pronouns or whatever, or a coworker, is think of who they are now when you're thinking of them with memories of people interacting in the past. Because when you think about people that you've met before they started transitioning, you're thinking about who they were and you're not thinking about who they are. And I think in general, I think it's better to think of the person as they are today, even in your memories of who they were. Like you realize, like you put it through the filter, like you're looking at the memory of that person and you're looking at the filter of knowing what you know about the person now. What does that memory look like? And it's so easy to just replace names and pronouns. You have no idea. I mean, obviously I'm not saying like this is like a delusion or anything. Like I know that I was assigned male at birth. Nothing's going to change that. Nothing's going to change that I had a different name and different pronouns. But I think it's best to think of like the person as for who they are now. And it's so easy to just replace the name and pronouns when you think about the person. Like just immediately, like I know it's going to take effort, but I've done it. And if I can do it for myself, then you can probably do it for people you've in your life. All I know is that like, if you just kind of think about people for who they are now, when you're referring to even their past self, it's a lot easier for everyone. It's just a lot easier to encounter people just not interrogating them, harassing them, asking them political questions. Here's also the thing is people think that having an opinion, quote unquote, about transgender healthcare is somehow political. Like, what? I exist, okay? I am not going away. I am here, and I'm receiving healthcare that's been it's been studied. Like, there's empirical evidence of like the treatments that I'm getting. It's not a new crazy revolutionary procedure. I mean, it is revolutionary, but the procedures I'm getting are not some like crazy experimental thing. Like, these are well documented things. And so I don't know, it's just like I don't know, you just have to ask yourself like why these people are so fixated on these things. Like, why is it so big of a deal that a woman can have a penis? Why don't you just accept it? Come on. Girl dick, it's a thing. Learn to love it. Pornhub numbers tell us a real accurate picture of the state of how many people are actually attracted to trans people sexually. So those numbers don't lie on Pornhub, okay? People are watching us and jacking off to us, okay? If they're doing that, that means they find us attractive. So stop lying to yourself. Get over us. We exist, and being attracted to us is perfectly fine. Why would you not be attracted to us? We're people. We have bodies. We have sexual organs. Like, come on. We have lips. We have faces. We have bodies. Like, come on. What's not to love? Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.